Back Row Ministry, the World Premiere, Mr. Martin coming at you live and direct. Man, all my basketball picks went to hell in the handbasket. But like I said, the importance of you doing your own gematria. Not here to do gematria for you. Learn how to do gematria, learn how to count your numbers, learn how to uh, break down the dates of games, and you'll be successful. So somebody has been on it. Some of us have just been all over the place. Like I said, I really haven't been focusing on sports. Really just kind of have just let sports go, honestly. I mean, I go watch live games and get my laugh on, but as far as watching on TV, nah, not happening anymore. My joy is my season on the Xbox. So, a lot of talk about Game of Thrones and the fallout from the show. Now, I don't really do a review show of TV shows. That's not what I'm into. But I like to point out the things that we've been talking about, and we talk about serious events. We talk about the fall of the stock market crashing. Two entities that were allied at one time, not getting along, be it China and America, totally falling out. We talked about the dragon as Russia begins to come into the forefront in Russia, symbolized by the dragon. We talk about the EU, we talk about the Zionists, talk about a whole bunch of things. And you can pretty much tie these things into Game of Thrones. We went from the army of the dead attacking the north to everybody converging on the throne of power, which we can really say Westeros can represent Babylon. We talk about the women rulers. We're talking about the time of queens. And in America, we're positioning ourselves for our first women ruler. And we can kind of see Dany as being our first woman ruler. Nobody really wants a woman ruler in America. Let's just call it what it is. Nobody accepts the woman ruler. They're still talking about the man being in charge and being the symbolizing the king. And that's where Jon comes in. Because remember in season, in episode 4, after the long night, pretty much Jon is, called the king and given the respect of the men, and Dany kind of is on the outside looking in. She's the woman who brought the army. She brought the war to the dead, but she doesn't get the respect of even that part. So we see that piece. And then we talk about Ishtar, the goddess of war, and Dany represents the goddess of war. Dany represents the goddess of war. She's the person that brings the war to America. And that's what happened in episode 5. There will be no surrender. I think Brother Yahi talked about this. You look at my iPad Go, and I think it was iPad Go 2, where the white flag of surrender is thrown up, but it doesn't stop the army as they continue. And they're supposed to be the Russian army or the dragon from continuing the siege and just decimating everybody. They're still going to come in. They're still going to attack. There's not going to be a surrender. That's pretty much where we are in America. There will not be a surrender. America will be decimated. It will be decimated. Women and children. The decimation of America. So you saw the arrows. I think Brother Yahi pointing at the Tammuz, a lot of Tammuz rituals. So a lot of that in Game of Thrones, the arrows, the missiles being fired at the dragon. We were able to stop one of the dragons. One of the dragons was stopped, but the other dragon would not be stopped. The other dragon would pretty much lay waste to the city, and that's what you saw. And we had a queen fall, the queen of Babylon, the queen and the king of Babylon fell pretty much in episode 5, where possibly we could see, this type of event. Could Russia be setting up to have a female ruler? I don't think so, but hey, possibilities, you never know. But the woman symbolizing, the dragon symbolizes Russia, as Brother Yahi puts it, that Russia will come to the shores of America. We said in Venezuela, as the Venezuelan situation kind of kicks up, wars come to America. Possibility that other sides were involved in this Venezuelan situation, and we could have war at our doorsteps of the Americas. So a lot with episode 5 and that decimation piece is basically a decimation of Babylon. That's all it's talking about. Babylon will be burnt to the ground. There will be no surrender. And you will have the woman who will burn it to the ground. She will burn it to the ground and represent change. And just because you know, you see change on the throne, sometimes that doesn't mean it's a positive change you need. That doesn't mean it's the same change you want. And you get what you pay for, as I always say. But a lot of people don't really understand, where they're going with this. And we talk about this idea of power and true power, and how power can be corrupted. How power can be corrupted, and certain weapons in people's hands is too much for the person, especially when they themselves are not in order. That's the problem with Danny. She's not in order. She's never had love. She's never, really felt that sense of family. And now the sense of family she has is gone. And the only thing she has left is war. And that's where the goddess Ishtar, she's both the goddess of love and war. So she has a flip job. She's the goddess of love, but then she also can be the goddess of war. So like Danny said, either I can have my love or I can have fear, the thing that keeps me alive. And if I can't get love from an incestual relationships, because at this point she knows the relationship with John would be an incestuous relationship, then I'll just have war. And even at time of surrender, she wants war. She's not content with just, oh, I beat you. She doesn't want to beat Cersei. She wants to destroy Cersei. She wants to lay waste to Cersei. She wants to lay waste to Westeros. She wants to lay waste to Babylon because, in her opinion, Babylon has caused her all these problems. So Babylon has caused her family all these problems, not knowing that her family was really one of the biggest issues because of their love of war and love of destruction. So a lot I took out of episode 5. We see the women's agenda in this. I mean, pretty much, this is what we've been following for the last couple of years. The women's agenda, preparing for the women president of America. If people not, then that's what I mean by people, their eyes not being open. You watch things with a closed mind because you're not seeing the agenda. We could have a situation where Arya is on the throne. Would that make sense? Yes. It would make a lot of sense. It would make a lot of sense that the goddess of war is killed by Arya. It'll make a lot of sense. And I don't know what we can say Arya represents. I'm going to really look at the breakdown of what we can say Arya would represent inside of the story, what character would she represent. And we talk about the Golden Realm, and Brother Yahi talks a lot about the Golden Realm and who's playing what roles. I hope he does a breakdown of Game of Thrones. Just that one episode. If he could just do episode 5, it'd be a great breakdown just to kind of get some of the symbolisms out of episode 5. But definitely you get the dragon symbolism, Russia being a dragon. There should be no surrender for America. Even at the end, America, well, if we do A, B, and C, all these compromises was being made by the Lady of Liberty. Cersei at this point is the Statue of Liberty, the Lady of Liberty. She's trying to make all these compromises, and pretty much the war's over. She has to ring the bell, but it's too late. Decimation awaits the country, and this is where we're going. This is where we're headed to. Decimation awaits. The Navy won't save us. Nothing won't be able to save us from the decimation when it breaches the wall and hits the shore. It's the Maki Back Row Ministry. Peace and grace.